Y'all, guess what happened? So my mortgage just went up. My mortgage just went up to $2,500. They just ran my analysis, my escrow analysis. And I wasn't even gonna look at it. But someone told me, like, just look at it, because I already knew I was negative because of what? Because of the taxes. And because I have a shortage in my escrow. Thank you, City of Chicago. Thank you so much for making it even harder on homeowners. Thank you so much.
For those of you who don't know, my name is Kay, and on this channel, I give you the real keys to home ownership so that your first buy is the right one. I really hate to hear stories like that. I fight back tears because when I see women like that, I see my mom, I see my aunts, my grandma, who had to do all of these things, had to take care of the household and still keep going with life by themselves. And at a certain point, it just becomes too much. But this is the side of home ownership that doesn't get talked about on social media. You don't see people crying too much about regretting buying their home or their payments going up or all of the costs that come with owning a home on Instagram Reels or on TikTok posts. Usually people are going to post what they want you to see, and regretting buying a home or not being able to pay for it can be perceived as a failure. So people aren't going to show that. However, this video and what this woman is going through is not just about her payment going up, but it's the fact that life is lifing all at one time. I don't know her situation, but if you're a single parent, you're a single mom, you're a single woman, and you're trying to buy a home by yourself, this is why it is so important for you to know your comfort number. And I preach that so much on this channel to prevent situations like this. I want you to hear what I'm saying and what I'm not, because single people can definitely buy a home. And I believe that you will buy a home if that's one of your goals. But I also believe that you deserve the truth, because when it's just you and all you have to fall back on is your one income, you really have to take into consideration the amount of cushion that you need before you buy a home. You still need room to breathe. All of your money and income should not go into you getting into a house, because it's not going to last. So situations like this really break my heart, and I feel for her. And the reason I said it's not just about the payment is because she's also dealing with flooding in her house. And that's a lot for one person to handle. Your house flooding alone is stressful, and your mortgage payment going up alone is stressful. But she has a double whammy. Both of them are happening at the same time, and it can feel like you can't catch a break. If this is you and you're buying on one income, just know that when things break, when emergencies happen, that burden is going to feel a lot heavier because you don't have someone else to share the stress with. And that cushion that I talked about earlier is going to prevent one emergency situation putting you into survival mode, because that's not what should happen. Now, here on this channel, I call it your comfort number. But all that really is a number that you can live with month to month, and it's not completely changing your life. That's the number that you can actually afford. Your comfort number gives you room to breathe, and it makes being a homeowner enjoyable. Because what fun is it if you're stretched out to the max the whole time? Of course, you're going to feel like you regret buying that home. And that's where home buyer's remorse comes in. Lenders are going to qualify you for the maximum amount of home that you can buy. It's up to you to govern yourself and be like, okay, I'm looking at my budget. This is how much I can afford, and I don't need to go over that. But at the end of the day, that's going to help you and not them. Because what do I say, y'all? Who's making the payment? Yeah, you. None of them people going to be helping you pay the payment. So you have to do what works for you. Don't let social media, your parents, don't let any of these influences talk you into something that you know is going to be a problem for you on the back end. I don't mean to preach at y'all, but this hits a nerve because I see it a lot. One thing that will never go out of style is having a budget and knowing what you can afford. When you go in knowing that, it makes everybody else's job easier. And nobody is going to talk you into something that you can't afford. Make sense? Okay, now, another thing that I want to bring up, just because you pay your homeowner's insurance monthly, on time, in full, every time, does not mean that your insurance company is just going to pay for the things that you need. You have something called a deductible. And all that is an amount of money that you have to pay out of pocket up front at first when something happens before the insurance company will step in and cover their part. Say your deductible is $5,000. I want you to sit here right now, whether you own a home, don't own a home, whatever. If your house flooded tomorrow and the deductible to get that fixed is $5,000, would you be able to get the insurance company's help? If the answer is no, then you need to reevaluate some things. Now, lenders often have a maximum deductible that they will allow for a borrower to meet in order for them to get homeowners insurance. I have seen many instances where people go to the absolute maximum deductible. Say the max that your lender allows is 5%. If you're buying a $300,000 home, that's $15,000 that you have to meet first before your insurance company will come in and save the day. So for me, this is a red flag. This is a warning sign. This is an indicator that you may not be prepared to buy a home. If you go to your lender to get pre-approved and they ask you to go shopping for homeowners insurance quotes and you're realizing that you have to max out the deductible for you to be able to afford that mortgage payment, you need to come down in the price range that you're trying to buy because that payment is too much for you and it's going to cause you heartache later on down the line. We don't want that. That's what we're trying to prevent. One tip I would give first-time home buyers before they go out and buy and start looking is you need to come up with a first-year homeowner cushion. First, let me say this. I'm from the belief, this is what Kay has to say. I'm from the belief that you need at least $30,000 to $50,000 before you move into your first home as a just-in-case fund, right? But I also live in the real world, and I know that's easier said than done. So this first year homeowner cushion, I'm not telling you you need to save $30,000, but you do need to start somewhere. I know her situation was extra stressful because she was dealing with home repairs as well as her payment going up. But a lot of times it's just stressful when your payment goes up. When your payment shoots from you're paying $1,500 to $2,500, that is a perfect environment for you to panic and for something to go wrong. And that's what this next clip is going to show.
My mortgage payment went up by about $500 each month. Yes. As you can imagine, I needed to get to the bottom of it. So I called my mortgage company. They said, hey, listen, your taxes went up. Got to take it up with the Department of Assessment and Taxation. Okay, no problem. So I called them. Get a young girl on the phone. She says, oh, I said, hey. I said, listen, my mortgage payment has now gone up by about $500. I said, I need to get to the bottom of it. And I said, I need your help. And she said, okay, no problem. It's in the system. And she said, oh, we came out and we assessed your property. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, what? She said, oh, we came out and we assessed your property. First of all, why y'all in my business? Why y'all assessing my property? Leave me and mine alone. I digress. Okay, so she says, when we assessed it, your property increased in value by about $60,000. So what's the tax rate? She said the tax rate is 1.2%. Okay, so I'm silent at this moment because I'm waiting for her to tell me more, because a $60,000 increase on my property value with a 1.2% tax rate does not equate to that increase, like $3,000 in taxes. It's not taking my taxes up by that much. I said, you got anything else for me? Any other reason as to why it's increased this much? She said, oh, I just told you. I said, baby girl. I said, the math isn't math. And I explained it to her, and she paused because she didn't understand. All I could think of is George W. Bush, you will pay for your No Child Left Behind sentence. You will pay for those sentences. And so I explained it to her again, and I did the math so she could understand. So I need you to take the headset off. I need you to go to the back. I said, I need you to do some math. I need you to come up with what else could have increased my taxes by this much. She paused. She said, okay. So she goes away. I was back on the phone. She says, ma'am, I'm ma'am. Just in case you don't know, I'm ma'am. She said, ma'am, I got it. Baby girl come back spitting numbers. She's spitting numbers. So she was, in fact, not meant to be left behind. Long story short, I had a tax credit for a high efficiency home. I no longer have that tax credit. It's ran its course. So am I at the point doing something strange for some change? No. However, it's getting real out here. That's all I came to say. Okay, so that's my story. Bye.
So here we go, y'all. This is another example of why you cannot be so hyper fixated on your starting payment, because even if you understand that your taxes and your insurance are variable cost, meaning that they can and often do change, when that payment goes up or changes, it still stings. And a $300,000, $500,000 increase can completely change your household budget. And that job you work in didn't give you $1,000 raise. And that money has to come from somewhere. So then that starts to affect your real life, your groceries, your gas, your maintenance on your car, childcare. I heard daycare is expensive. You got school expenses and just overall your peace of mind. You don't want to buy a home that causes you stress 24/7. Here's another thing to think about. Your lender is going to approve you on your gross income. Now, your gross income is not actually what you get. You get your net income. Your gross income is more than your net income. Remember that getting approved, it gets you in the house, but knowing your budget, knowing your numbers, knowing what you're comfortable with keeps you there. And that's the goal. So, yes, payments can change due to taxes, insurance, escrow shortages, and things like that. I have a detailed video about that. I'll link it above. I'm not going to go too much into depth about that in this video. But what I want you to think about more is if and when your payment changes, were you prepared for it? One tip that I would give to buyers, especially first-time buyers, is to stress test that payment. If the payment that I can afford went up $400 a month or went up said amount a month, could I afford it? Could I handle it? What would it look like for me? What would it look like for my lifestyle? How would I have to change and move things around? Could you sleep at night without worrying about the next payment that you had to make? And after that exercise, if you found that one payment increase would put you in a crisis, then that's not your comfort number. And a great example of this is she said the payment increase is not enough to make her do something strange for a little change, but it's getting tight out here. That means that she bought at her comfort number because even though the payment went up, she's still able to make accommodations to afford that increase. That's a perfect example of how it should be. Does she want to pay that increase? No. But is she able to? Yes. I know a lot of this video, I've talked about people who haven't bought just yet, who may be looking to buy, and things that you can do to prevent yourself from being in a situation like this and being completely stressed. But if you're already in this situation or you're scared that this could happen to you, let's talk about some things that you can do. First, I want you to do like the lady in the first video said. She said her escrow analysis came out and she didn't even want to look at it. And that's our first reaction because sometimes life can just become too much and we think that pushing things to the side is going to make them go away. But baby, in this life, that is not the answer at all. Okay, so I want you to open up the escrow analysis that your mortgage servicer sent you, whatever documentation, and I want you to see what actually caused the increase. Was it the taxes? Was it the insurance? As she said, she had a tax credit that ran its course. What is causing the increase? Because if you don't know what's causing it, you won't know how to fix it or come up with a solution to where you can get it paid. If the increase did come from your property taxes, look at your county tax appraisal district and see what the process is to appeal if you're able to. Also, see if there are any home exemptions that you could apply for to help you out with this increase. A tax appeal may help you with the estimated or appraised value of your home if it's too high. That doesn't mean that you're going to get it, but these are just one of the ways that you could combat your rising mortgage payment. I know here in Texas we have a homestead exemption, which is available on your primary residence or your primary home, and it just doesn't hurt to ask about those things. I don't know about other states, but to know the deadlines of when tax appeals are due and when to file for certain exemptions and things like that, that's valuable information to know. Now, if the increase came from your homeowner's insurance, that means you need to shop around. I'm going to tell everybody, look, every year, January or whenever your insurance renews, you need to be shopping for a new insurance company, home insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, whatever, because insurance is very expensive. And shopping around looking for the best rates, it's a pain, but it could save you a couple of thousands of dollars a year. And another thing, don't just shop for the lowest premium. Just because you're paying the lowest premium doesn't mean it's the best deal. Look at the deductible. Look at the coverage. If you have any insurance companies that could bundle your home and auto, look at all of those things, weigh all of your options. That way you can make an informed decision and possibly shave some money off of that increase in your mortgage payment. Now, if it's an escrow shortage, which is kind of like what happened in the first video, call your servicer. I've often found that people are a little afraid or intimidated by their mortgage servicer. They don't want to call them, they don't want to talk to them, but y'all, they're there to help. If your payment goes up and it's due to an escrow shortage and you absolutely know you cannot afford it, there's nothing wrong with that. Call them up and be like, hey, servicer, this is so and so. This is my address. My escrow analysis came back. My mortgage payment is going up by so and so amount and I can't afford it. Is there a payment plan you could put me on? Is there anything that we can work out to where I can get this paid and it's not such a burden where it's going to push me out of the home? They're willing to work with you if they can. Ask them how long will the higher payment last. Ask them anything. Don't be afraid to talk to them regular. If you don't know the terminology, that's fine. Talk to them how I'm talking to y'all. It's your payment. All they care about is if it gets paid or not. After you've done all of that, I want you to sit down and look at your budget. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Determine what's coming in the house, what's leaving. And at this point, this is where you need to adjust your plan. Maybe it's for long term. Maybe it's just for short term if you've determined how long that higher mortgage payment is going to be applied and until you've paid out the shortage in your escrow. Maybe you could get rid of some non-essential spending. Maybe there's a possibility or an opportunity for you to make some extra income temporarily. If the uncomfortability and the not being able to afford the payment is temporary, you may be able to work yourself out of it. But if it's just come to the point where it's unbearable and it's continuing to grow and you don't see a way out, then that may be a bigger conversation. But I would take this step first before you determine that I'm just ready to quit, if owning a home is a goal for you. Now, lastly, this is for the people that haven't bought yet. Build your comfort number now and do some practical things. Practice. I know I'm doing it. Okay. I plan on moving out soon. I know what my set mortgage payment is going to be. I'm practicing not having that money every month. So be practical with that comfort number. If you're like, okay, I can live with this payment and still save and do things like that, do it now. Don't wait until you get into the home. Set your budget, stick to your budget, and follow the plan. And then when it's your turn to buy, not only will you be ready, but it'll be a blessing to you. And you won't have any remorse because you prepared yourself before you made that move. Remember, the win is not about getting the keys. The win is about keeping the house. You deserve to buy with a plan. You deserve to know your comfort number. And you deserve to understand what could change before it does. If you're watching this and you're not ready to talk to anyone just yet, that's perfectly fine. I created a free homebuyer guide that's just for you. It walks you through the basics, what you need to think about, what conversations you should be having before you even get up to go look at houses or even talk to a lender about your numbers. The link to download that is in the description below. And if you're ready to sit down and figure out what payment makes sense for you, well, I'm your girl. Schedule a consultation with me where we'll tailor-make a plan just for you so that you know when you begin your home buying process, it'll be successful. The link for that is also in the description below. Be sure to keep watching the channel and check out these next 2 videos to continue growing your knowledge about the home buying process. Because remember, when you know better, you definitely buy smarter. Until next time, see you in the next one.